Hi, my name is Nicholas Matus, and this is my week 2 discussion based on misconceptions. As we get started, this is for American government, and the first one is freedom of religion. With this topic, it's a very touchy one as people often misconcept that people often think it only protects Christian religions, which is not true because, well, to first start, people believe this because of the most likely the president being Christian, but that's not true at all because the government can't protect just Christian religions. It protects all religions overall, and it even protects those who aren't even religious at all. So if you're religious or not, you're still protected no matter what, based on your opinion. Second misconception is that government can favor religion as long as it's not specific. This is not true because the government can't promote any religion in general, even if it's specific or not. They just can't. So, in my example right here, we have a Magic player not believing in or believing in that wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirt doesn't matter because black people aren't saved from wearing the t-shirt, it's saved from the gospel, and he has his freedom to be able to express his thought on the matter. Another topic, freedom of speech. Misconception with this is people believe that you can say anything without consequences. This is not true at all because you can't be saying things like threats or harassing people. And another big thing that you can't say without any consequence is yelling or saying a thing like fire in a movie theater, which could cause a bunch of chaos. So that would ultimately lead to big consequences and could get you in trouble. Another misconception is that this only applies to public spaces, that people believe that freedom of speech could only harm you in public places, but that's not true because this could also relate to you in private business or your job. So it can still restrict what you say. Another topic, freedom of the press. A misconception with this is that the press can publish anything. This is not true because the press, if the press publishes something wrong, then they could ultimately get in trouble and could even be sued. So with the freedom of press, the press cannot publish anything at all. This has to be ran through, and so it doesn't create something that spreads lies and false information that could possibly hurt somebody. Another misconception is that press freedom is only about journalists. This is not true because there are things though like CNN and Fox, but it also branches out towards things like bloggers and even YouTubers. Search and seizure. Sorry. Police can always search your property. That's something people misconcept, but that's not true at all because they need to have a warrant or a probable search cause. Without those things, then they can't search you whenever they want or whenever they'd like. Another misconception is it doesn't apply in emergencies. This is also not true because there are some exceptions, but there are limits too, as the Fourth Amendment is all about protecting your privacy. With due process law, there are misconceptions too, such as it only applies in criminal trials. This is also not true because this applies towards things like schools or immigration cases and many more things that are related to the process. But another misconception is it's the same in every state, and that's not true because the due process looks at different different positions or like a point of view as where you are. It's more fair in some circumstances So it's all mostly differently depending on where you're at. The Ninth Amendment, the Ninth Amendment overall is a very misconcepted idea, as people believe it doesn't mean anything, but it's all about the right to your privacy, and it's not written in the Constitution, but the Ninth Amendment protects rights that aren't listed. Another misconception is that rights must be written down to be real, but it is real. But this amendment exists to protect things that are unlisted freedoms. So like things that aren't meant to be out there to the public. The 10th Amendment is another one, as people misconcept that federal law always wins, which is not true at all, because federal government doesn't control everything, and states can pass their own laws, such as things like their own school system or their own licenses. So like whenever, or like, yeah, so like schools and license. Another misconception is that states can ignore federal law. This is not true, because there's still a balance of in between how federal laws and the highest when there's a conflict. So they can't ignore these laws like simply and just brush it aside. Equal protection. A misconception with this is that everyone is treated equally under the law, but that doesn't always happen in equal protection or like the practice, because we still see inequality in areas like housing or wage. Another misconception is that it only protects racial groups. This is not all about race, but it also relates to things like gender, age, things like disabilities, uh, and more. So overall, just differentials. And lastly, we have discrimination. We have our misconception being that it only applies to race, but this is not only about someone being racist, but it can also be about age, religion, or disabilities, and even discrimination towards pregnant people, and whether their decision on giving birth to it or not. Another misconception is that it's always intentional, and with this idea, um, it's not intentional, because like unequal schools, being able to fund or not, or hiring bases. So this is more so it's not intentional. So with that being said, thank you for listening to my presentation on misconceptions through government.